titles, you had to turn on the full closed captioning, so you'd get like sound effects cues and all that stuff. So I had to shut off the Comanche dub version for those reasons, and I watched just the regular English language one.
Well, it's nice they respect the language and bothered to translate it and do all that.
I don't think they respected it so much as they knew if they didn't make that available, people would be angry. So, so they half-assed it.
That comes in the form of casting all actual Native American people in the roles, because that's what was my first thought. You mentioned Aubrey Plaza. I was like, that girl does look a lot like Aubrey Plaza. And then, of course, I looked her up, and she's... She
was on a show with Aubrey Plaza. She's on that show Legion, I guess, which I've never watched.
Yeah, she's done a lot of acting. The brother, that was his first role.
Okay.
His name was Dakota something. Hold on.
David Dakota?
Dakota Beavers. He didn't have any other credits other than this, and he was good.
They were both really good. I thought she was, yeah.
And she was good too.
People can say, I don't know, like Mary Sue or whatever, she's too powerful. I thought they did a good job of establishing that it's not that she's great at everything. She's just very like observant and pays close attention and learns well.
Right.
I thought they did a good job of establishing that.
She is a bit of a Mary Sue, but more of a Mary Sue. Because it's funny, the actress is part of the Sioux tribe.
Okay.
In the movie, she's Comanche.
Comanche, yeah.
But in real life, she's actually quite a blend of different ethnicities and heritages. Paternal grandmother was Native American of the Sioux and Lakota. Amber's paternal grandfather was of Norwegian and some English descent. Mm. Where's the Twitter mob? It's not 100%. So some English descent, surname Mid-Thunder, which actually, that sounds like a Native American name, Mid-Thunder.
Yeah.
Because, they use all the nature names in there. Which originates in Bergen, Hordaland, Norway, was originally Mid-Thun.
Oh.
Amber's mother was born in Bangkok, Thailand.
Oh, my God.
Of European and Chinese ancestry. So, a lot of stuff, but you can't get away with casting non-Native Americans in Native American roles, or non-anything in non-anything roles.
For a movie like this, I mean, that's a part of the whole concept of
that
the movie.
That movie was on the other day called The 13th Warrior with Antonio Banderas.
Oh, yeah.
And he plays an Arab.
I am Ahmed Ibn Fahlan, Ibn al-Abbas, Ibn Rashid.
Speaking of falling asleep during movies, I think I fell asleep seeing that in the theater when it came out.
Did you?
I'm pretty sure I didn't. I've never seen the whole movie.
Yeah, I saw that, and it's like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Well, now it's still a thing that's happening.
Gotten Charlton Heston
there was an
to play a
announcement.
Mexican.
I'm supposed to do a thriller at Universal, but they want Charlton Heston to play a Mexican.
There's an announcement that what's his stupid face? Oz the Great and Powerful. James Franco was going to play. Who is he playing? Castro or something? Is that right? Was that the announcement?
Fidel Castro?
Yes.
James Franco?
Yeah. And he got called out by people. Like, I was just shocked that he was still getting offered roles and things.
That's such a weird casting choice.
Yeah.
We're treading in some choppy waters here, Jay. But it's good to work out these things and talk about them because, I think like playing a stereotype or playing another ethnicity or doing some kind of role that could be like mocking, that's of course offensive. But when it comes down to like really like kind of simple changes, like an actor has to act. You can shut.
So what you're saying is you would have preferred if this movie had John Wayne in brown face.
Yes.
Okay.
I wanted Hannah Montana to play a Native American. Right.
See, that's the compromise when I was talking about having the Comanche dub available. It's like, well, we know we have to make this available, but we're going to half-ass it and just do a dub. When I would have loved this movie if it was completely shot in Comanche with subtitles, but I can understand from a studio perspective why they didn't do that.
Sure.
But it was distracting to hear people
work,
not just speaking English, but sounding kind of like modern English even. It kind of took me out of the movie. Luckily, there's not. It's not very dialogue during the movie.
English, which was nice.
Yeah,
it was a little confusing when the one Frenchman who knew Comanche. He's like, I learned Comanche, and
And
he's
then they
talking
speak English.
in English. The thing is, though, in the very beginning of the movie, they open it with she speaks a couple lines in, I assume, Comanche.
Yeah.
It's like a poem or something, and then it continues on in English, and it's like, I knew they were. You have to do something like that. You can't just have the whole movie be in English and not address it.
Yeah.
It's like Hunt for Red October. Remember that? Alec Baldwin plays super secret spy agent Jack Ryan as a spy on a Russian sub. Sean Connery and all of his officers are in the mess hall, and they're all speaking Russian. And the first, like, maybe 10, 15 minutes is subtitled. They're all Russian.
Собрали к нам место, называемое по-еврейски Armageddon. And the seventh angel poured forth his bowl into the air, and a voice cried out from heaven, saying...
And then they do like a camera move, and then it very kind of subtly transitions into English, and then the camera comes back out.
It's almost like now you're hearing it from
It's like
their perspective.
Pretend in your mind they're speaking Russian. That's what you have to do. And they did that in this a little bit. Could have done it a little closer to how they did it in Red October. But
Yeah, but that, again, when I say like the movie, I'm picturing like a grittier version of this, like 16 millimeter, actual practical blood,
Yeah.
people speaking actual Comanche.
yeah, real blood would have been nice. A couple of real animal shots would have helped.
Yeah. It would have been less comical when the predator punched the bear. I was happy there wasn't a bunch of dumb subplots. It was so straightforward.
Yes.
It was like, what, 100 minutes? Maybe 90 with credits. It was very simple. Woman wants to prove herself, and then she proves herself.
Yes.
Boom. This is their story. This is the predator.
Yes. And I think for the most part, it had, 98% Rotten Tomatoes score, right? And then in the 80s, I love my reviews. And
I don't even pay attention to reviews half the time anymore.
And you know, there's a wee bit of interjection of politics into this, because they're like, well, it's feminist propaganda, and you know, I noted a couple of those, which I'll of course read to you. But
Well, it's like basic storytelling. You have to have a character overcome obstacles. That's what stories are.
I know, and no one like okay, but let me find something here.
Okay.
for real quick. I did most of my my stuff from Rotten Tomatoes, but I found this.
That's where you get the cream of the crop of bad reviews.
I found this on IMDb. Throw in 110 pounds of skinny girl power versus all of nature and alien predators, and see how the movie really turns out. Only let's remove the laws of physics, pretend physiology doesn't exist, make her a Navy SEAL, and now we see if the audience is impressed. Still have doubts? Let's introduce evil, dumb French trappers to really prove her moral high ground in case anyone has any doubts. I really don't know why the story had to be told this way. The original Predator made mincemeat out of an elite squad of mercenaries who literally went into the jungle with enough ammo to wipe out a small city. These are aliens who have the intelligence and machinery to travel through space and time. We expect a young girl in the 1700s to outmaneuver, outsmart, and defeat an alien who is 8 feet tall and 300 pounds. She can learn to use a hand musket just from taking mental notes. And she can craft booby traps with a flint axe. She can also understand alien technology in half of a day. I guess if we are to believe in a predator alien, then we must also believe that this super girl can exist in her time as well. The first Predator was awesome. This falls in the same pile of sequels that should have never been made. The angle of the feminists, it's now they're taking away our precious male heroes and replacing like that's all nonsense to me. There's some sort of valid points in this, but if you were to look at this, because I've made jokes about the feminist hero,
Like the strong female
flipping
character.
and exploding things, and this
Yeah.
this, you know, to be devil's advocate here, this kind of falls into that a little bit, because some of the stuff she does is a little bit over the top, and I have a way to rework it.
Oh.
Which would have made me happy, but I'm still very happy with the movie. But you know, no one complains when Tom Cruise is flipping off a motorcycle and jumping on a helicopter and exploding,
Yeah.
Or Bruce Willis in the Die Hard movies, the sequels, is doing crazy things, throwing cars and whatever. No one really complains when it's a man doing it, but
Well, and like I said, that's her whole character is she's able to
training.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's able to be very observant and figure out how this shit works.
She's good.
Which is
And-
what makes her a unique character, which is why she's the protagonist.
yes, you want your protagonist, and she goes through her struggles.
Yeah, I
Which
was
is
surprised early
important.
on when they're telling her to like go back to the tribe, and they just kind of beat the shit out of her.
Yeah.
Like her own tribe, they're just beating her up. I was a little surprised they went. I assumed it was going to be so much more clean than that, and she was just going to be Superwoman. So
No, like, yeah.
she gets caught in quicksand at one point. She gets caught by the trappers, the French guys.
Her culture is hunter-gatherer, Native American. Men go out and do the things, and the women stay back and cook and tend to the wounded. And she wants to break that mold, and she wants to be a warrior. She practices with her axe. They go on the hunt for the lion. A lion has dragged off one of their own. They go to find him, and she does have an encounter with the lion, but fails.
Yeah.
And her older brother is the one who defeats the lion and brings it back to the camp. And that's a perfect, like, bam, knock down that protagonist a little.
This is what she's trying to do. She doesn't succeed.
Yeah.
I hope later in the story she
So
succeeds.
she can get up and be stronger again.
Yeah.
Mostly good reviews. 1-star review. Where is the man fight? Not girl fight. This is Dreamgirls.
Dreamgirls? Isn't that a movie about like a musical act? It just has girls in the title, so he used it?
Well, I think the translation means like this is a fantasy. Like this girl
Okay.
can really do this.
He should have thought that comment through a little bit more because it wasn't very clear what he was trying to say.
Yeah, right. Here's a 1/2 star.
Okay.
This film simply tries to destroy what has been established in the franchise, which is probably the goal the director had. The Predator.
I'm going to assume the director just said, hey, you know what we haven't seen in a Predator movie before?
Yes.
A female protagonist. That we haven't seen something said in the past. That everything kind of fits into place.
The Predator is ridiculous. He always seems harmless. The protagonist is the classic, quote, Mary Sue. Her arc is not convincing at all. I'll give him credit. Arc was spelled right.
He didn't spell it A-R-K.
1/2 star. Girl power. Exactly what a Predator movie didn't need. Political pandering to feminists took precedent over creating good cinema. C-I-N-E-M.
Oh.
Cinnamon.
Cinnamon?
I could see great cinnamon in this.
Cinnamon.
Cinema.
Cinnamon.
Took precedence over creating good cinema. And it shows in every scene where implausible girl power is rubbed in your face to score PC points with the matriarchy.
I hate the world that we live in.
Yeah. So that seems to be, considering you got 89% audience rating, it's a very minority of people that think that the film was made specifically as a feminist propaganda piece, which I think it's just a little twist on the genre, but is our girl female character a little too powerful when compared to male action stars who are also too powerful, whatever. And she never really sure, she's 110 pounds and doesn't have the strength of a man, but the strength of a man couldn't defeat a predator. The strength of a fucking bear couldn't defeat a predator, so it doesn't matter.
That's what makes the Predator scary.
Because she doesn't go in a physical, like, there's no arm wrestling scene.
No.
She
has to use her wits.
She's using wits, and she's attacking from afar, and she's using traps and blah, 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 blah. Did Schwarzenegger ever, like, get in a fist fight with the Predator? No.
He sets up a bunch of traps, and he still almost
you gotta
fails.
stay far away from the predator.
Yeah.
And the girl knows that, and she's got the little axe with the rope that flies back. And
They
it's
established that earlier.
It's a little
yeah.
like cartoonish how efficient it works, but if I were to add a layer, a plot layer, I was really happy with. You go back to the 1700s, right? What do? Like, they added in all these different set pieces and scenes that nothing dragged.
There was an escalation to the action scenes.
Yes.
Which, if I had a complaint, not to get too off track, and it's not really off track, it's that the first half, like I said, it's very similar to the original movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we've seen the Predator before, so it's hard to make him mysterious. I guess you're trying to do it from the perspective of the characters, but like we know where this is all going. So the first half drags a little bit because of that, because it's just like
I guess
we know what's
we're not
gonna,
discovering the predator. For the first
unlike
time.
the first movie where it's like, what the fuck is this thing in the woods?
But we're
So,
kind of watching it through the eyes of a Native American in the 1700s.
yeah.
Like
That's
They're
the
just
more
like-
her reaction to the technology that
Yeah.
it's using was interesting.
Yeah.
More so than just where we see like its silhouette in the distance and it's walking. It's like
Yeah.
it's a predator. We know it's a predator.
it's not as creepy as the first movie.
right.
But what are you gonna do?
That's why I say where it's like the first half. It's very similar to the structure and
But
pacing of the
they
original movie.
balance that out with her character establishment, the establishment of how the tribe works, the mother, the use of the herbs to heal. I mean, there's lots of little things in this movie that all kind of add up.
Yeah.
Because there's parallel scenes. There's really nice parallel scenes. The predator sees the rabbit being hunted by the wolf, and and the movie's called Prey, not Predator, which is
Right.
clever. And the predator's watching, and he realizes that the wolf is the bad guy. And so,
He understands the dynamic of
yes. And later on, she uses that to her advantage when she kills the fur trapper who's threatening her with a gun. She's like, he's not going to kill me. And then there's a cool shot where she steps aside as the predator walks past her, because she knows she's the prey.
yeah.
He's the fur trapper guy's the predator. She kind of figures out why he's there and what he's doing.
And that's what I've always liked about the Predator as a movie monster. That's what makes him different than like
Yes.
the aliens
He has
or
rules.
something. Yeah.
He's
he has
not
a
there
code.
just to kill everything.
Right.
He's there to hunt big game.
Mm-hmm.
And then if things are a threat to him, he'll take them out. But there's parallels, like the rabbit and the wolf, and then there's a scene where she's healing herself with herbs, and then it cuts to him healing himself with his own medicine. So they're similar in nature.
Yeah.
But I like the quicksand scene. That was a nice setup for later on. And that was a fake out, because I'm like, oh, she's gonna get sucked down in that quicksand, and the mud. It was like a mud pit, and she comes out, and then the predator's gonna show up, and not see her.
like like Arnold in the
Didn't
first
happen.
movie. That's true.
Next scene, she's washed herself off, and then the brother, who she's in competition with, she fights the lion and gets knocked unconscious and wakes up in the teepee, and she's like, "What happened?" And then it cuts to the brother, and he's walking back with the lion head and the carcass. He's like, "I killed the lion that threatened our camp. I'm the alpha male of this tribe," and I thought that it was going to come out later that it was really the predator that killed the lion, and that the brother was like, I'm taking this carcass home, and I'm gonna pretend like I did it, and he's a fraud.
Yeah.
And then she overtakes the brother. He fucking lied about the lion. He's a fake. He's a scaredy cat. He ran away. He ran away when he saw the predator killing the lion, and then he pretended to. I was like, nope. So she really had to prove her worth, and the brother really was a quality character because he sacrificed himself at the end.
Yeah.
Spoilers. But instead of her being what is some complaints from people is that her gender and weight and physical ability seems far undermatched to the predator. The predator has outmatched her.
Yeah.
People thinking that's super unrealistic, despite it being a movie. It would have been, I think, neater if she was, she usurped the male authority in the village and said, yes, my brother has been leading you, but he is a fraud, and you can trust me come on, Comanches, all 50 of you. I'm going to lead you into battle
Just as a whole group of people taking on the predator.
and you, and you. You're going to tie ropes over here. And then, a bunch of them get killed, of course, because it's battle. But she proves her worth other than just being physically adept. She's also learns to be socially adept in maybe taking on more of the patriarchal role in the village, and that would have been a better like girl power moment, where it's like I always make fun of girl power as being purely physical.
Yeah.
What's Angelina Jolie flipping backwards as trains explode underneath her, like that.
Which there's a few moments of in this when she's
There's
flipping
a lot
around.
of that in this, and that to me isn't girl power. Girl power comes more from
intelligence
and wit, in
Which she
addition
does
to
have in this, so.
addition to physicality.
Yeah.
She's using it, but it could have been oomphed a little bit more because they're talking about their social structure a lot in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like you gotta
that's true.
grain the bread, or you gotta make the bread and the thing, and
You got to get in the kitchen and make me a sandwich.
you got to make the sandwiches for the warriors that go out and do the real work. You're just a lady, and you can't do that kind of stuff. But then she proves that she can lead the tribe into battle, and that I think would have satiated the guys, the basement dwelling incel.
Spoilers, it wouldn't have. That would have made it worse.
Oh,
now she
dang.
thinks she can. The woman's taking over the man's leadership role.
I mean, I get it. I get it.
Woke.
I'm not pro-woke or anti-woke. I'm neither.
I just think it's gotten out of control.
I
There
don't
was
care.
before the new Jurassic World movie came out. Like the first promotional image for it was Chris Pratt standing next to Black Lady, and it was just an image of two people standing there.
Yeah, they're standing there
and
like-
people were woke. I was like, it's just a black woman existing. It's just a photo. What are we doing?
To be honest, if the Man's Man Predator movie was the 2018 Predator movie, which was like diarrhea on the screen, I'll take this over that any day.
Hey, Baxley, if your mom's vagina were a video game, it'd be rated E for everyone.
Sure, the girl might not be able to do a backflip mid-air and put a hatchet in the head of a predator, but I'll take
It's more fun to watch than whoever that fucking guy was in the Predator.
Oh, God.
Or little Jacob Tremblay with his Predator mask on Halloween. Remember that?
where autism is a superpower. Or whatever the fuck happened in that movie.
But this movie ruined the integrity of the Predator franchise.
Right. I was like, all the
Well,
crazy
even like going back
ideas-
to the macho-ness, because that's the whole thing with the first movie. That image of Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger, giving each other a high five or whatever. That's like the meme from that movie. But that's what that movie is about. Like even the machoist of macho men are not enough to take on the Predator. So we've seen that. And then even and I liked, a lot of people didn't, but I liked Predators, the Robert Rodriguez produced one.
Yeah.
It's
That's with Brody?
Adrian Brody.
Yeah, that was a good
and
one.
It's not bad.
It was a good concept, like scummy criminals.
Yeah,
like
dropped onto an alien planet.
throw them on an alien planet.
But even Adrian Brody, he's a pretty scrawny dude, but they tried to buff him up for that movie a little bit. But then, they're all scummy criminal characters. And I like the scene where the Predator fights a samurai in the cornfield or whatever. Not a cornfield, but like a wheat field.
Yeah.
But again, that one again is lots of vulgar, manly men.
Man, if we ever make it home, I'm gonna do so much fucking cocaine. I'm gonna rape so many fine bitches.
So it's okay, we've seen all this before. The Predator, same thing. It's you want to make a movie with a little Native American lady fighting a predator? Fine.
I have a soft spot in my heart for schlock. and the time traveling predator. I mean, not even time traveling. It's just they were around back then.
Takes place in the past.
Yeah, I'll be happy if we have another Predator movie, Predator versus King Arthur's court. King Arthur.
They think the Predator is like it's like Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
He's come from the sky.
He's come from
to protect us, and then it just murders everybody.
Yeah, knights in, with the swords fighting the Predator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's what this movie took that little bit from the end of Predator 2 when they give Danny Glover the gun, and you're like, oh shit, they've been coming here for a long time. It's like, hey, what if we expanded that into a movie? Boom.
Sure.
Simple.
Sure.
Works, is in continuity with the other movies. Not tons of pointless nods and references to the other movies.
No,
There's one line that they took from the first one.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
But that's fine because that's like the most perfect line that's ever been written for a movie.
Yeah.
And it makes complete logical sense in the 1700s or modern times.
Sure.
So I was okay with that one little nod.
I think at the end she's like, "Come on now, do it."
A little bit. I thought it was really awkward when she says, "Get to the chopper," because it's like that didn't make any sense in the context of the
There's
story.
a guy who chops wood to build log cabins.
Oh,
It's
is
a
that?
chopper.
I think they did that in The Predator. They said, "Get to the chopper." It's like, stop it.
Stop it.
Just stop it. Shut up.
Everything okay back there?
I want what would be a great era? The Napoleonic Wars. I just want to see a Predator like fight